We're back in the workshop. So this week I am going to start doing some frame bits, bit of notching, bit of bending. I've done a bit of prep. I've done some angle tests for the notcher and I've made a cheater bar. But yeah, let me show you. I'll show you. So with this style of bender, you make one of these. Basically what you do, you mark the start point of the bend. And then I've done 20, 40, 60, 80 and 90 degree because I got to 20 before I remembered I was going to mark it. And then you mark a line on it. So that way, when you're working out where to bend stuff, kind of gives you a rough guide, like on the part you're bending. Let me show you the other thing I've done. Beast notcher. This thing's great. All sorts of angles, offsets, blah, 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 blah. You can even clamp the part in different places. But yeah, that's the notch. So it's a 10-degree angle. So that'll be for going onto the frame. So yeah, I need to make 2 of these. The length I haven't set yet. And I haven't marked the bend angles. So I figure I'll start with the part I need and then go from there. So that's going to sit here. But what I'm going to do, obviously this is going to come up to meet this section here. So I'm going to bend around here somewhere. And then I'm going to then have to put another bend going in this way and then another bend coming out. Fuck trying to calculate that without just doing it. So what I decided last night, I want this to go quite high up into the frame. But this area of the tank here, like where the seam is, I'm going to put a notch in that so it kind of sits into it. I was going to de-seam the whole tank, but no, I'm not going to do that now. I've got an idea for the pinched end. Yeah, so I've made one. Let's make another one. Let's cut a bit more tube. Awesome bit of kit. And the company that were importing it from the States no longer import it. And it was literally the last one. So I'm glad I got it. So yeah, basically, I worked this out yesterday. I need to leave. I'll show you what I mean. Let me clamp this in. And I will explain. Right, I want to leave on the end of it the wall thickness. So that's where I want it to engage. Exactly what I did with the other one. The same with this one. And then some of you are going to be asking, oh, why haven't I marked centre lines and all that? Because that's not important yet. So yeah, look, we're there. We're there. Let's get this notch. I need an overhead camera for stuff like this. I've got plans for a rig I want to build, but that's another conversation. Right, let's get this notched. If you don't have a notcher, guys, get one. It just elevates that tube work massively. Bit of squirty. For a deep notch like this, you can only obviously go that far and then angle grind the end off. And then back to the notchy. Next bit off, you don't always have to do this, it's just with deep ones at certain angles. Little tiny last bit. Right, to minimise on fuck ups and waste, I'm going to do one side at a time. So I want this to be quite high up in the frame. So that's the sort of angle it's going to sit at. I'm going to put a notch here. I need to work out where I want my bend to start. So I want to go all the way up there. So I want it to start bending in line with this curve in the tank. Oh, fucking lid won't come off the pen. All right, let's have a look. So that's going to go about there. Yeah. So I want my bend coming up to start about there, but I also need to kick it in. So I'm going to have to try and put a bend there. How's that going to fucking work? Right, let's do our first bend. Yeah, because the frame's straight till this point, so I can line up with that. And then I need to bring it in. Let's have a look. Yeah, I need to bring it in around here. So yeah, let's do our first bend. But before I do any bending, I need to mark center lines. I've got a 3D printed tool for that. That's the side my world's going to go on. So it's going to be that. That's the orientation. I need the bend to come up this way and go that way. So I need a center line on this face here. So the way I'm going to do that, I've got one of my trusty pegs. If I put the peg down and then hold the peg flat, I know that that is in line with the notch. I didn't come up with this, but if I can find the model, I'll leave a link. It's great. It's adjustable, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, blah, 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 blah. I'll show you how it works. Again, another fucking lid. Tube's already been degreased. It hasn't been cleaned yet, like rust and all that, but I'll do that after. So basically, nice flat surface. And you've got a lovely centre line. Let's go over that again. Occasionally you will hit a little bump. There we go. We got a centre line. And I can check that's central by the end of the notch. Yeah, that's good. That's good. There we go. Nice, lovely centre line. Right, repeatable angles and make sure every bend is on the right plane. So this is easy to line up. It's got a notch on this side. It lines up with the mark I've put in. And I've just realised I've put this in backwards. So I'll turn that round in a second. The start of the bend that's marked is up against this. And what you do is you take a reference against the follower die and then match that. So you zero to that on this side and then match it there. But let me flip that round quickly. Right, and then bend angle. I'll square this up against that. Looking at about 55 degrees. So yeah, we'll go 50 first. You can always reseat it. But if I go 50 degrees first, I think 50 will do it actually because it's raised up and off. So yeah, because if that's, right, let's think about this. I've already got 10 on it, 40 degrees, 45 degrees. So yeah, let's get bending. It's the other reason to get a heavy, heavy fab table. I don't have this anchored to the floor anymore just because the car's in the way. But hopefully not for too long. So having the fab table so heavy, I can just clamp it to the fab table for 1 inch, like no problem. Load that up, we're at, and that's a 0. Oh. Yeah, we're at 0 there, that's tight. There's my coffee. Can't wait till this car's gone. And then I'll have big old workbench on the other side. Right, let's go. Where's the bending arm? There it is. Yeah, I've already put 10 degrees on the notch. So I'm only going to bend to 45. My math should be right. Should be right. Or it's wrong and I've got another 12 meters of material to fucking ruin. And I've also taken note of the mouth of the notch to the start of the bend. Do. 20 degrees. And I don't lube this up. I don't know if I should. I've had, like, again, 50-50 answers. Some people say lube it. Some people say don't. So let's go 40 degrees. On what bit over on this notch? Look at that, bang on. Just double check that. Load it up still. Yep, perfect. Perfect. But somehow it doesn't look right. Did I do it in the wrong place? Don't know, let's take it off and have a look. It looks wrong, but they do sometimes. Yeah, that don't look right. I did say I'll be making some scrap metal this week. Right, I used the start of the bend at the wrong side of the die. And I even made the cheater bar to remind me. Oh well, so yeah, that's all the way there. But luckily, the bend angle looks okay. All I need to do is re-notch it. So it's not the end of the world. And I've got the center line, so it won't be that hard to line up in the notcher. So yeah, let me cut. How does that sit? Yeah, spot on. Let me cut that end off and go again with a notch. Right, let's go again with that. Motherfuck. Bottomed out. Let's cut that off. In fact, I'll be back in a sec when this is done. Error corrected. And then that is perfect. Tank's going to sit a tiny bit higher because it's only bolted at the front at the moment. So it's on the bungs. But yeah, we are going to be about there. Yeah, you won't even know that this has been added once it's done. Now, how do I bend this in? From here, I'd say. Yeah. So if I kick it in around here, and then I can kick it out about there. So let me scratch my head for a bit with the tube bender and work out how I want to do it. Yeah, because then it will follow the profile of the tank.
A little later.
Right, I found the limitations of my bender. So what I've had to do is put the bend here. But I mean, it lines up. And then obviously the subframe is going to come straight out. So yeah. There's a bend, and a notch. And I have taken notes and measurements. So let's make another one of them, but reversed. And then once the other one's made, I can take the tank off and start cutting this shit away. Work out exactly how I'm going to trim it to mount here. Because like I said last time, I'm not removing any of the shock mount. That's staying. So I'm taking this section away and the shit off the back. And I'm sure I can do a better job here than Triumph did. Or maybe not. Maybe there's a reason they did that. Production cost, probably. Right, we finally have two of them. I only fucked up one and then realised I didn't have one of the measurements. But yeah, we're there. They match. This one's a touch longer, but again, both of these ends will get cut down. So yeah, there's two of them. Let's take the tank off. That is bloody fucking awesome. It's bloody lovely. Quite a final position, but very, very happy with that so far. I'm wondering now whether I should just carry on the subframe. No, stick to the plan. So how do I symmetricalize this? Right, I'm gonna cut all this shit out, I guess. So side piece is cut off. I'm super chuffed with that. So the plan is I'm just going to carry on the subframe up. So yeah, there's enough contact with this center section that I'll be able to weld it up nicely. So now I've got I need a straight section with a 10-degree angle on it to go the other way and come straight up. Yeah, very happy. Let's come around the other side. Yeah, super chuffed. Everything lines up bloody lovely. And I want a big hump in the back, big hump, like over the top so I can hide all the electrics there. That means I can keep stuff clear underneath. And then maybe some carbon fibers, carton fiber, carbon fiber. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Everything lines up lovely, lovely jubbly. Bit of gaffer tape on there because they kept falling off and hitting me in the foot. Carry on. So I need to put a 10-degree, because this is 10 degrees. The next angle's got to be 10 degrees, so everything comes up. I don't know how I'm going to get the angles close to the edge. So I think what I'm going to do is I have to put the bend in a piece of material and trim it down. And then I need to make some slugs. I won't be able to make them today because I've got no stock. So let's cut another bit of material. Not gonna lie, I stuck them in the lathe just to clean up that edge, and although it was sketchy, come out good. So, two of them. Let's work out how much and where we can bend them. So far that looks great. I'm going to go inside and 3D print a couple of temporary joiners just so I can take some decent measurements and make a notched piece to replace that. And there we go, straight off the printer. Haven't even tested them yet. I printed them squidgy because I figure they're not going to be exact and allow me to wedge them in and take them out quite easily. It's just to hold it in place, like while I line stuff up and make that bit of crossbar. That's all I need it to do, just that, while I line stuff up so I can measure things. Could have made them a bit longer, but they work. It took 20 minutes to design and print. Right, I've got the other one in. If I don't push them in all the way, as the other one slides on, it will push it in more. There we go. Again, not meant to be perfect, just meant to make it a little bit less frustrating. So they're both in place. So now I just need a simple piece to go here. That's going to achieve two things. Obviously I'm going to need, don't know what I'm going to do with the back yet. Well, I kind of do, but I don't. I need to think about it. I'm going to line this up till I've got it where it looks square. I'll take a couple of measurements because obviously the front end's only taped on. So I need to make a piece that goes across here. Dead easy. Take a measurement, add a bit, notch to the measurement, wedge it in place. That means I can then weld this bit up clamped flat to the fab table. That'll mean these end bits over here stay nice and square, and then I can line up and move forward. So I'll probably put this whole thing together off the bike and then bring it to the bike and then weld it all up. That way I can make sure all this is square. We've got a flat line to the first bend down here that kicks up towards the front of the frame. So yeah, let me get my measuring thing. Right, this isn't the time to try and save material. So look, if I go 20 centimeters, yeah, if I go 20 centimeters, maybe I'll make two, keep things square. No, let's go 20 centimeters. Let's do the one, and I can maybe tap that together. And then obviously I'll add another one somewhere else. Haven't worked out where. So yeah, 20 centimeters. Right, one more done. I don't know if you lot remember these. I made these when I was doing the hardtail for the last build, the Cub. Again, 3D printing comes to the rescue. But that's in, that's done. Nice and tight. Look at that. Bloody lovely. I say this every week, and I'm going to keep saying it. Thanks for watching, guys. Numbers went up last week, whatever you lot did, and I got a bunch of new followers. Thanks for doing it. I don't do this for the views, but knowing people are watching it means I'll shoot it. It takes so much longer to build anything. So yeah, I appreciate you lot. So have a great week, and I'll see you next week.
Hey, bark, bark.